What if the people who know Las Vegas best are the ones warning you to stay away? Not travel bloggers, not influencers chasing views, the dealers, the bartenders, the housekeepers who see what happens behind closed doors. They're whispering something that should make every future visitor think twice. Las Vegas in 2026 isn't just changing, it's collapsing from the inside out, and the workers living it every single day. They're already preparing for what comes next. Today we're revealing 10 insider predictions that paint a picture most tourists will never see coming. And the first sign insiders point to is already visible on the Strip. Number 10. More empty weekdays ahead. Walk into a Strip casino on a Tuesday afternoon, and you might wonder if you missed the memo. The slot machines hum, the lights flash, but the crowds? Gone. Workers say this isn't a slow week. It's the new normal. Midweek traffic has been thinning for months, and insiders expect 2026 to accelerate that trend dramatically. Hotels stay open. Restaurants keep their doors unlocked. But the energy that once made Vegas feel alive 7 days a week is fading fast. Dealers describe standing at empty blackjack tables for hours, watching the same handful of guests circle the floor like ghosts. Bartenders pour drinks for tourists who nurse a single cocktail because they're saving their money for the weekend. The problem isn't that people have stopped coming to Vegas entirely. It's that they've stopped coming during the week. And for a city built on constant action, that silence is deafening. Resorts are quietly adjusting. Some have already reduced weekday staffing. Others are shortening hours for restaurants and shows that used to run non-stop. The message from inside is clear. If you're planning a Vegas trip next year, the midweek ghost town might shock you. But the real question is what happens when fewer weekday visitors means less money flowing to the people who depend on every shift? Because tip income is about to take a serious hit. Number 9. Tip income could drop sharply. For decades, working in Las Vegas meant one thing above all else. The tips were worth it. Dealers, servers, valets, and bartenders built middle-class lives on the generosity of visitors riding high on vacation energy. But workers are bracing for a brutal shift in 2026. The big spenders are disappearing. And when they go, so do the tips that keep Vegas workers afloat. Servers describe tables that once dropped $50 or $100 tips now leaving 10 or 15. Dealers say the players who used to slide them chips after a hot streak are playing tighter, tipping less, and walking away faster. It's not that tourists have become cruel, it's that they're watching their own wallets in ways they never did before. The math is simple and painful. When visitors cut back on gambling, drinking, and dining, the workers who depend on those moments suffer first. Insiders estimate tip income could fall by 20 to 30% for certain positions next year. That's not a minor adjustment. That's rent, that's groceries. That's the difference between staying in Vegas and packing up for somewhere more stable. The cruel irony is that workers can't control any of it. They show up, they smile, they hustle, but if the guests aren't spending, there's nothing left to share. And just when you think it can't get harder, another blow lands. Because some resorts aren't even replacing the workers who leave. Number 8. Hiring freezes becoming normal. There used to be a time when casino jobs in Las Vegas felt endless. If you wanted work, you found it. The Strip was always hiring, always expanding, always hungry for fresh faces to keep the machine running. But that era is quietly ending. Workers say hiring freezes have become the new standard at multiple major resorts, and 2026 could lock that trend into place for good. Here's how it works. When someone quits or retires, their position doesn't get filled. Instead, the remaining staff absorbs their duties. One dealer covers 2 tables, one housekeeper cleans extra rooms, one bartender handles twice the volume. The work multiplies, but the paychecks stay exactly the same. Insiders describe it as slow-motion suffocation. You don't notice it at first, then suddenly you're doing the job of 2 people and wondering how it happened. Management calls it efficiency. Workers call it exploitation. The worst part is the silence. Resorts don't announce hiring freezes. They don't send memos or make public statements. They just stop posting jobs and hope nobody notices. But the employees notice. They feel it in their aching feet, their shorter breaks, and their growing resentment. For anyone dreaming of landing a Vegas job next year, the doors may be harder to open than ever. And for those already inside, the pressure keeps building. Because it's not just about doing more work. It's about doing that work in buildings that are slowly falling apart. Number 7. Cleaning and maintenance cutbacks. Picture this. You check into your strip hotel room after a long flight. The bed looks fine. The bathroom seems clean enough. But something feels off. The carpet has a stain nobody addressed. The air conditioner rattles louder than it should. The hallway smells faintly of something you can't quite name. Welcome to the new Vegas. Workers on the inside say cleaning and maintenance budgets are getting slashed, and guests are starting to notice. Room refresh schedules that once guaranteed spotless spaces every single day are stretching longer. Housekeepers report being told to skip certain tasks unless guests specifically complain. Maintenance requests that used to get handled within hours now sit in queues for days. It's not that workers don't care, it's that they're being told to do less with less. One housekeeper described it bluntly. We used to take pride in making every room perfect. Now we're just trying to survive the shift. The consequences ripple outward. Guest satisfaction scores are slipping. Online reviews mention dirty rooms and broken fixtures more often than ever. Repeat visitors who remember the old Vegas standards are walking away disappointed. And the workers, stuck in the middle, take the blame for decisions made far above their pay grade. But the cost-cutting doesn't stop at housekeeping, because even the most iconic Vegas tradition is being hollowed out from the inside. Number 6. Buffets may return, but smaller. The Vegas buffet was once legendary. Mountains of crab legs, endless prime rib, dessert tables that stretched into infinity. For generations of visitors, the buffet wasn't just a meal, it was the experience. It was proof that in Las Vegas, excess wasn't a sin. It was the whole point. But most of those buffets vanished during the pandemic. And workers say what comes back in 2026 won't look anything like what we lost. Insiders believe some resorts will reopen buffets as crowd-pulling tactics, desperate attempts to lure visitors through the doors. But the glory days are gone. Expect fewer stations, smaller portions, and shorter operating hours. Dinner service might disappear entirely at some properties. The endless variety that once defined Vegas dining could shrink to a handful of rotating options designed to minimize waste and maximize profit. Workers who remember the old buffets describe the new versions with sadness. It's like watching a movie remake that misses everything that made the original special. The spirit is gone. For tourists hoping 2026 brings back the Vegas they remember, this might be the cruelest disappointment. You'll see the word buffet on the sign. You'll pay the premium price, but the experience inside won't match the memory in your head. And if the food scene is fading, the nightlife isn't far behind, because the party culture that built modern Vegas is losing steam faster than anyone expected. Number 5. Party tourism. Losing strength. Las Vegas built an empire on bottle service, celebrity DJs, and nightclubs where the party never stopped. For years, the mega clubs printed money. Tables sold for thousands. Bottles popped until sunrise. And the energy inside those velvet ropes felt like the heartbeat of modern Sin City. But workers inside those clubs are sounding the alarm. The party is slowing down. Staff describe nights where bottle service sits unsold on tables that used to require reservations weeks in advance. DJs who once commanded residencies now rotate through on shorter contracts, playing to thinner crowds. The high rollers who dropped $10,000 or $20,000 in a single night are showing up less often, and when they do, they spend less. Some insiders blame the economy. Others point to changing tastes among younger travelers who prefer experiences over excess. Whatever the cause, the result is the same. The nightclub scene that defined Vegas for a generation is contracting. Promoters are getting desperate. Free entry offers that once felt exclusive now flood social media every weekend. Drink specials appear where premium pricing used to dominate. The illusion of scarcity that made Vegas clubs feel special is crumbling. For workers who built careers in nightlife, 2026 looks uncertain. The tips are shrinking, the shifts are shorter, and the fear that the party might actually end someday doesn't feel so crazy anymore. But even as clubs struggle, casinos are making moves that may be making things worse. Number 4. Hotel discounts mask a bigger problem. Scroll through any travel site and you'll see it. Vegas hotel rooms at prices that seem almost too good to be true. $50 a night on the Strip, $70 at properties that once charged 3 times that amount. On the surface, it looks like a win for budget travelers, but workers say those discounts are hiding a much darker truth. Cheap rooms are filling beds, but they're not filling casino floors with the guests who actually spend money. The strategy is simple. Slash room rates to attract bodies. Hope those bodies wander onto the gaming floor and drop cash at the tables. But it's not working the way resorts planned. The visitors booking bargain rooms aren't the high rollers who keep casinos profitable. They're budget-conscious travelers who eat off property, skip the clubs, and treat their trip like a cheap weekend getaway rather than a Vegas splurge. Dealers describe watching guests sit at penny slots for hours, nursing free drinks, and never touching a real table game. Servers see smaller tabs and even smaller tips. The casino gets heads and seats, but the wallets stay closed. For the workers, it creates a painful paradox. The hotel looks busy, the floors look active, but the money isn't flowing the way it used to. And when revenue disappoints, management looks for cuts elsewhere, which brings us to the human cost that nobody talks about enough, because the people keeping Vegas running are reaching their breaking point. Number 3. Staff burnout is rising behind every smile at the blackjack table, every perfectly poured cocktail, and every freshly made bed is a worker running on fumes. Vegas has always demanded hustle, long shifts, late nights, and the constant performance of making guests feel special. But insiders say 2026 could push the workforce past its limits. Staff burnout isn't creeping in, it's exploding. Workers describe longer hours with less help as hiring freezes leave gaps that never get filled. They talk about shrinking tips that make the sacrifice feel pointless. They share stories of skipping breaks just to keep up, then going home too exhausted to do anything but collapse. The breaking point is different for everyone. For some, it's the 3rd double shift in a week. For others, it's watching co-workers quit and knowing their workload just doubled. For many, it's the slow realization that the Vegas dream they chased isn't worth the toll on their health and happiness. The exodus has already begun. Veteran dealers are leaving for tribal casinos with better hours. Servers are switching industries entirely. Housekeepers are moving to cities where the cost of living doesn't eat their entire paycheck. Those who stay wonder how much longer they can hold on. And the resorts losing experienced workers aren't just losing employees. They're losing the knowledge, the skill, and the hospitality instincts that made Vegas service legendary. But even the buildings themselves might not survive what's coming, because some casino floors could go dark entirely. Number 2. Older casinos could shut floors. Imagine walking into a casino you've visited for years and finding half the gaming floor roped off. Slot machines sit dark and silent. Table games are covered with sheets like furniture. In an abandoned house, the lights that once blazed 24 hours a day now flicker on only when the crowds justify the cost. Workers say this nightmare scenario could become reality in 2026. Insiders at older strip properties and downtown casinos are whispering about contingency plans to shut down entire gaming floors during slow months. The math is brutal. Running a casino floor isn't cheap. Electricity, staffing, maintenance, and security costs pile up whether guests are playing or not. When midweek traffic drops and weekend crowds thin out, keeping every slot machine humming and every table staffed becomes a losing bet. The solution being discussed behind closed doors is strategic darkness. Close the sections that drain money, concentrate guests into smaller areas that feel busier, save costs during the slow season, and hope nobody notices the shrinking footprint. But workers know guests will notice. They'll feel the emptiness. They'll sense that something is wrong. And the illusion that Vegas never sleeps, that the party runs forever, will crack in ways that can't be papered over with marketing. For longtime visitors, seeing those dark floors might finally confirm what insiders have known for years. The old Vegas is disappearing, and what takes its place might be unrecognizable. Number 1. A new Vegas might replace the old one. Ask any longtime Vegas worker what keeps them up at night, and you'll hear the same fear whispered again and again. The city we built our lives around is dying. What comes next won't be the same. Las Vegas was forged on a promise. All-night thrills. Anything goes. A place where ordinary people could feel extraordinary, even if just for a weekend. That promise attracted dreamers, risk-takers, and millions of visitors who wanted to taste freedom they couldn't find anywhere else. But workers on the inside see that Vegas is slipping away. The corporate consolidation that swallowed independent casinos is squeezing out personality. The budget cuts that gut service are erasing what made Vegas hospitality legendary. The shift toward efficiency over experience is turning Sin City into just another destination, sanitized and predictable. Insiders describe a future Vegas that's calmer, quieter, and more controlled. A place designed for conventions and family-friendly attractions rather than wild nights and spontaneous adventures. A city that runs on algorithms instead of adrenaline. Some workers have made peace with it. They say every city evolves, and Vegas is no different. Others mourn what's being lost, the characters, the chaos, the sense that anything could happen after midnight. Whether you see it as progress or tragedy depends on what Vegas meant to you. But one thing is certain, the workers who know this city best are preparing for a version of Las Vegas that looks nothing like the one that made it famous. The only question left is whether visitors will follow them into this new era or chase the old Vegas magic somewhere else entirely.